Knick fans are still reeling after the Knicks just made this blockbuster move to add Karl-Anthony Towns to this team. And once that move happened, myself and many other Knicks fans started to wonder, why did the Knicks make this move? Why did the Knicks make this trade? Why did they add Karl-Anthony Towns to this team? Well, according to multiple NBA insiders, the main reason the Knicks made this move was because they feel Towns is a better fit on this team next to Brunson. They like his age, and they also like his contract. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The real reason the Knicks traded for Cat. Now, as you guys saw in the video I dropped yesterday, when this trade was first announced, I gotta say, I was a little bit emotional, a little bit upset, and I didn't like it. After taking some time to process everything, I still gotta say, I don't love the trade. I feel like the Knicks gave up a little bit too much to get a player like Karl-Anthony Towns, somebody who, in my opinion, it's close in terms of if he's a little bit better or a little bit worse than Julius Randle. But because it's so close, when you consider that, and then you consider the Knicks gave up Donte DiVincenzo and the protected first-round pick from Detroit, it seems like the Knicks gave up just a little bit too much to acquire a player that they feel is the better fit next to Jalen Brunson. Let's break down these latest reports on why the Knicks added Towns to this team. Shout out to Ian Bagley of SNY for giving us all of the following information. According to him, the New York Knicks are sending all-star forward Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo to the Timberwolves. A future first-round pick via Detroit and Keita Bates-Diop are also headed to Minnesota as part of a 3-team trade. That's right, another team is part of this trade, and that team is the Charlotte Hornets. According to Bagley, the Knicks are also sending salary, including Daquan Jeffries and draft compensation, to the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the details of this trade are still being finalized, but here's how things are shaping out right now. The Knicks will send Daquan Jeffries as part of the deal to help satisfy those trade rules. They'll also send Keita Bates-Diop in that trade. They'll also make the math work by adding Charlie Brown and Dwayne Washington Jr. in sign-in trades. Additionally, the Hornets will also receive draft compensation for their help in facilitating the deal. What that draft compensation is at this point in time is still to be determined. A lot of moving parts here, a lot of players going to different teams, but bottom line, the Knicks are getting Karl-Anthony Towns, and the main players being traded in this deal are Towns, DiVincenzo, and Randle. And the pick that's going out to Minnesota is that protected Detroit pick that we have. Again, it's heavily protected. I don't really mind the pick so much. For me, it's the total trade package. But why did the Knicks make this trade? Why did they add Towns to this team? Well, according to Bagley, in Towns, the Knicks feel like they found a player who complements the rest of their core in Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart extremely well. Towns is the best perimeter shooting big man in the NBA. He forces defenses to pull a defender out of the paint, thereby spreading the floor for his teammates. His presence should open up the lane for Brunson to attack and create advantages for New York. He can also play in the post and draw a double team there. Towns' presence will make it difficult for teams to trap Brunson and switch on pick and rolls. The bottom line is, with Mitchell Robinson out, the Knicks had an obvious need at center. By landing a 4-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA player in Towns, they feel like they executed on a great opportunity to fill the need. And with their core all under the age of 30, the Knicks also feel Towns' addition gives them a strong opportunity to compete for a championship several years down the line. Another NBA insider, Steph Bondy, also confirms from a league source why the Knicks were attracted to a Towns trade. According to him, Towns is only 28 years old and on a long-term contract set up for sustained success. Complements the core of Brunson, Anunoby, and Bridges. Addresses the need for a center. Elite offensive player and high-level rebounder. Great plus minuses and among the top shooting bigs in the NBA. Shout out to Steph Bondy and Ian Bagley, two great NBA insiders, for giving us the following updates on why the Knicks made this trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. Honestly, I can understand almost all of those points. The only point I can't understand is how it addresses the Knicks and their need for another center. Because if you look at Towns, normally he doesn't like to play the 5. He likes to play the 4. And since that's the case, I don't really see how the Knicks address the center situation at this point in time. Not to mention that Towns is very soft when it comes to playing inside the post. Not saying he can't play there, not saying he can't draw doubles there. He absolutely can. The only issue is how he takes contact, how he gets pushed around. These are all things that everybody around the league have seen. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, and that's why I'm concerned about how he's going to play in the post and also how the Knicks defense is going to look when he plays the 5. Because at this point, like multiple NBA insiders have just said and confirmed, the Knicks don't have that many options at the center position. So that means with all likelihood, even if Towns doesn't like it, he is going to be playing center for this Knicks team. Now it does unlock a lot to have a 7-footer like Towns playing center for you. Not only can he stretch the floor, pull multiple defenders out of the paint, he also has a high level of basketball IQ and knows when to make the right passes to get other people involved, open, and make the opponent pay for throwing multiple defenders at him. He is very good at understanding that and reading those moments. So you have to give him credit there. And honestly, as much as I don't like to admit it, the way he's going to stretch the floor, open up different situations, and give Jalen Brunson so many other offensive advantages, I can understand why the Knicks are excited about making this move and pairing these two together. Because on paper, these two, if everything works out, looks like a phenomenal pairing. But Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle also look like a very good pairing, especially on paper. But according to Steph Bondy with the New York Post, the main reason that the Knicks made this trade is because some people within the organization felt that Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson were both ball dominant, so they didn't fit good together. But now with Towns, it's a better fit with him next to Brunson. Per Bondy, some people in the Knicks organization viewed Randle as a poor fit next to Brunson as 2 ball-dominant players. Towns plays off the ball and spreads the floor to provide Brunson space to drive. His acquisition presents a potential starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns. A formidable 5-some to compete with the Celtics for a title. Still, Towns doesn't arrive without big concerns. He's been frequently injured the past 5 seasons, criticized for being soft, and took 8 years to get past the first round of the playoffs. Now we come to one of the main reasons I didn't like the trade in the first place. Not only because of the trade package, but also because of what Towns brings to this team. If you look at it, his playoff performances, even though he's had some good playoff performances, if you compare the overall, he's not that great of a postseason player. And that's the same exact criticism that Julius Randle gets hit with. He does it during the regular season, but not in the postseason. Now you can say the exact same thing about Towns. He's also been injured as well. So that's something you can also tag along to him. Everybody's saying that Julius Randle was dealing with injuries, coming off of injuries. Wasn't Towns doing the exact same thing? Wasn't Towns injured before he started the playoffs for the Timberwolves? We got to look at it from that point of view as well, too. Almost all the bad things that people want to say about Randle, you could flip it and say those exact same things about Towns. So you just have to make sure you're looking at it from this perspective. But in the same vein, the Knicks got somebody in Towns who can shoot better than Randle, who can stretch the floor better than Randle, and how they feel is a more compliment to this roster, to the starting unit, and to Jalen Brunson. And if they feel that way, for them, it's not a bad trade. For them, they did what was necessary to maximize their championship window so that way they can get a title to New York. And for me, the only way I could ever accept this trade, agree with it, and never mention anything bad about it again is if the Knicks bring a championship home. If they do that, myself and most other Knicks fans that don't like this trade will never complain about it because it led to us getting a championship. So nobody's going to hate on that. But if it doesn't do that, if it doesn't work out, if the defense doesn't look good, many of us, myself included, will be bringing that criticism because it's going to be warranted. We made a major move to get Towns. If it doesn't work, a lot of us are going to speak up on it. Now, I'm not hoping for the worst here. I hope it does work out with Towns. Even though I don't like the trade, I love the Knicks, and I will always be a Knick fan. So I want them to do well each and every season, this season included. Even though we have Towns and I'm still processing the trade, I know I want the Knicks to win. I want them to win a championship. I want them to break the drought. But for right now, I need to see how it all looks. I need to see how it all works. I need to see how Tom Thibodeau utilizes Karl-Anthony Towns, not only on offense, but also on defense, where he is, where he's positioned. Clearly, the Knicks have some advantages on the offensive end now, especially when it comes to spacing the floor, stretching the floor, and making sure defenders are not doubling Brunson. However, we have to see how it works on the defensive end because, as I said, for me, that's still the main concern. I don't know how Towns is going to look on that end, and we don't really have that much help on the defensive end to give him if he's not looking that good. So these are concerns that I have and many other Knick fans have. We still have to wait to see how it all looks once the season starts. But this move happening before camp is starting next week was surprising. Caught everybody off guard. It was shocking. Nobody expected it. But here we are. Karl-Anthony Towns is a Knick. Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo are headed to Minnesota. A lot of other moves are happening as well, too. The Knicks may not even be done. They could potentially make some other moves. Guaranteed, a lot of the Exhibit 9 and 10 contract guys we have right now are going to be given standard NBA deals. I'm looking at Mook Morris and I'm looking at Landry Shamet. We lost a couple of players, so it only makes sense to add a couple of players back. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks and the real reason why they wanted to add Towns to this team? That reason being that some people in the Knicks organization view Towns as a better fit to Brunson than Randle was because Randle and Brunson are two ball-dominant players. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.